I offer my respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnavas and several sannyasis and senior devotees are here. So, with your blessings and permission, I would like to start this topic. So, we are trying to understand how to build good, cordial, everlasting, friendly, loving relationships and how to tackle distresses based on the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam way we need to do this. So I will refer to several shlokas and also some pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam that give us these two specific teachings on how to build relationships and how to tackle distresses. Because relationship building is something that is crucial in everyone's life. No one can live alone. Although sometimes some people may prefer to be in seclusion, no one can live forever in isolation, right? I think some of us or many of us have the experience of being in isolation in COVID time. Anyone quarantined here? So several times we were quarantined. It's such a painful experience. Okay, no one to share your heart. Okay, no one can live in isolation. Even Lord, Supreme Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, he is Atma Rama, self-satisfied. Apta Kama, not a single desire of Krishna is left unfulfilled. Except the three desires that Kaviraj Goswami refers to in Chaitanya Charitamrita. We will not get into the secrets of Krishna's heart. But Krishna is, according to Tattva, he is Atma Rama, he is Apta Kama, he is Purna Manoratha. All his desires are fulfilled, automatically fulfilled. Still, Krishna desires the pleasure of loving relationships with his own devotees. When Durvasa Muni came to the Supreme Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha, when Sudarshan Chakra was chasing Durvasa Muni, he went to Vaikuntha seeking Lord Vishnu's shelter, right? So what did Lord Vishnu say? I am not independent. Even my own opulences do not give me any pleasure without my devotees. I cannot enjoy my own opulences, my own abode, my own powers without the assistance and without the relationship with my own devotees. So therefore even Krishna is dependent on his devotees to seek pleasure, to seek juice in loving relationships, in Vatsalya Rasa, in Madhurya Rasa, in Dasya Rasa. So devotees connect with Krishna in different relationships and Krishna relishes the pleasure of those relationships. He is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. So Krishna is Vibhu and we are Anu. Krishna is the Supreme Lord and we are minute, infinitesimal parts of Supreme Lord Krishna. Mamaivamsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhutaha Sanatanaha. We are small amshas of Krishna. If he is seeking pleasure in relationships, we also seek pleasure in relationships, right? So let's try to understand this topic of relationships. Then we will go to the distresses part in the second half. Spiritual life is not meant to give up relationships. Sometimes people have this understanding that when someone takes to spiritual life, when someone chants Hare Krishna, especially when someone enters Brahmachari ashram, so people get scared, oh, he wants to give up all relationships, right? So spiritual life is not meant to give up relationships, but to expand the scope of our relationships by identifying everyone as a member of Krishna's spiritual family. We are all family members of Krishna. His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj was speaking on Vasudaika Kutumbam. We are all members of Krishna's spiritual family. You know that shloka in Bhagavad Gita, Vidya Vinaya Sampanni Brahmane Gavihastini Shunichaiva Swapakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. So one who has Vidya, even a Gnani also can understand that different living beings, although they are in different bodies, there is a spiritual equality. How much it must be true in the case of a devotee. A devotee is one who identifies spiritual equality behind the bodily differences. Bodies may be different, but inside there is Amsha of Krishna, there is soul. So if every soul is a child of God, then every soul is naturally connected to every other soul through God in the center. So Krishna is the center of our relationships. So in a regular, like for a regular person, relationship is like I have a connection with another person through this body. There is a biological relationship. And in our family there are 4 people, 10 people, 15 people, so I have a relationship with them. So these are relationships connected with the body, but there are relationships with soul as the center, Krishna as the center. So Krishna connects everyone. So there's a devotee is one who wants to maintain loving relationships with all souls who are actually children of God. So does spirituality arrest relationships? Does spirituality eliminate relationships? Now let's see the prayer of Parikshit Maharaj. Before that, let's see these 2 qualities. Bhagavatam shlokas. Ajata shatravaha shanta sadhavaha sadhubhushanaha. So a devotee is one who is ajata shatru. His shatru is never born. A devotee has no enemy. Devotee never sees anyone as enemy. Devotee doesn't hold any grudge, envy, hatred, negativity towards any living being, including those people who want to harm him. And suhurdaha sarvadehinam, these are all Bhagavatam shlokas, qualities of Vaishnavas, where a devotee likes to have friendly relationships with sarvadehinam, all living beings. Not just few people, not just few family members, okay? Not just members of one's own family or street or district or state or country or caste, etc. Suhurdaha sarvadehinam. Devotee loves to maintain friendly relationships with all living beings. This is the example of Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit was cursed to die within 7 days. He knows he is going to leave this world within 7 days, but Parikshit was not concerned about where he is going. Parikshit is not concerned whether he is going back to Godhead, whether he is able to enter the Goloka Vrindavan or Vaikuntha. Even if he has to come back in this material world, Parikshit has no problem. He says, Punascha bhuyat bhagavatyanante. You also recite. Ratihi prasangascha tadashrayeshu mahatsu yam upayami srishtim maitriyastu sarvatra namodvijebhyah. Punascha bhuyat bhagavatyanante. If I have to take birth again in this world, I don't mind. I'll take birth again. But I want 3 things. He has 3 desires to be fulfilled. Number 1, Bhagavati anante ratihi. Love for Krishna. Rati for unlimited Lord Krishna. Number 2, prasangascha tadashrayeshu. Association of devotees of Krishna. Then third, Maitriyastu sarvatra namo dvijebhyah. Maitri sarvatra. I want friendly relationships with all living beings. So this is the aspiration of a devotee. A devotee doesn't eliminate anyone. Devotee is willing to cultivate loving relationships with all living beings. Maitriyastu sarvatra namo dvijebhyah. Sarvatra. He wants friendly relations with all living beings. But how practical it is. Right? There is no discrimination. We want to make friendship with everybody, every living being. Tiger, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can do that. When Mahaprabhu is going in Jharkhand forest, so he saw a tiger sleeping there. Mahaprabhu would kick the tiger with his divine lotus foot and says, Tiger, get up, say Hari, Hari. Tiger gets up and says Hari, Hari. Okay, and if we try to do that, Tiger, get up, Hari. Mahaprabhu can embrace a tiger also. If we embrace a tiger, that will be the last embrace of our life. Okay, so we cannot imitate Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu saw a river, he entered the water to take bath. Then some big elephants came there. And Mahaprabhu splashed water on the elephants and said, chant Hari Hari. And all these elephants started chanting and dancing also. We can't do that. So I was coming from MI on this way, this narrow way, and elephants were coming. Right? We were a little scared. We were just going behind. So when you see elephant, we'll get afraid. So when you say relationships with all living beings, is there no discrimination? Should we cultivate relationship with all living beings? So there is a role of discrimination. Now, you see, Rupa Goswami says, Svajati Yashaya Snigdha Sri Bhagavat Bhakta Sanghu. Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu recommends that we cultivate friendly and loving relationships with like-minded devotees. Devotees who aspire for a similar goal. He aspires for Krishna Prema, she aspires for Krishna Prema. I am also aspiring for Krishna Prema. Let me have a loving relationship with these people. There's a common goal. There's a commonality. So, it's a recommendation from the Acharyas that although devotees are excited and willing to have loving relationships with everyone, still preferable association is association of devotees. Okay. Now, let's see what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, who taught the principles of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu to Rupa Goswami. He said, Asat Sangatyaga Vaishnavachar. So Vaishnavas achar, it's an etiquette of all Vaishnavas to avoid unfavorable association. Avoid the association of Avaishnavas. Don't hear from them. Avaishnava Mukhodgiranam Putam Harikathamritam Shravanam Naiva Kartavyam Sarpa Uchishta Yathapayah. So we should not even hear from non-devotees, even if they speak from Shastra, because the mind gets contaminated. So, trying to cultivate relationships with those people who are favorable to bhakti, favorable to our advancement in bhakti, and avoiding relationships with those people whose association is unfavorable to our bhakti is what is recommended by Acharyas, Shastras, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, even Bhagavatam. Does it mean that a devotee hates materialistic people? So we may stay away from materialistic people to protect our own bhakti lata. It's a small creeper, right? It's just growing. So when it is growing, we can't expose it to big animals. When an animal comes to a small plant, when a goat or a cow comes to a small plant, the plant's life is gone. The plant is completely devoured by that cow or goat. But when the plant grows into a big tree, the same cow, the same goat will come and sit under the shelter. Tree is unaffected. Tree can give shelter. Initially, tree when it is a plant, it can be devoured by the cow. But when the plant becomes a tree, it can give shelter to the cow. So therefore, depending on the level of one's advancement in devotional service, one should carefully avoid bad association. It's like kabaddi. Prabhupada went to the West and then made those people into devotees. Right? He is not influenced by the materialistic association in that place, but he influenced them with his spiritual association. So when one has the bandwidth, then one can do that. One can associate with even materialistic people to convert them into spiritual seekers. Right? So when a devotee meets a materialistic person, potentially that materialistic person, so-called materialistic person, is also devotee. He is a soul. He is a part and parcel of Krishna. If he is trained nicely, then he can also become a devotee. Right? Seeing that potential, seeing one's own potential in inspiring such kind of people, one can associate with them to give association, not to take association. But at heart, there is no hatred. There is no envy. There is no negativity. There is no grudge. But there is compassion. So the way we connect with people who may not be practicing bhakti is the spirit of compassion, not hatred. Right? So, Goswamis of Vrindavan, they are dhira dhira jana priyau priyakarau nirmatsarau pujitau. They are loved by gentle people and ruffians also. They are nirmatsara. They are completely non-envious. Devotee is one who doesn't hate anybody. Right? There are two types of materialistic people. Bhagavatam says, 11th canto Bhagavatam. Ya esham purusham sakshad Atma Prabhavamishwaram Na Bhajantyavajananti Sthanat Bharshtaha Patantyadha. This shloka comes in the conversation between Nimi and Navayogendras. Who are they? You can go back and explore, and I know many devotees must be knowing them. So I will focus on this third line. So the shloka says there are two categories of materialistic people. One, na bhajanti. Two, avajananti. Na bhajanti category, they don't worship Krishna out of ignorance, out of innocence. Avajananti people, they don't worship Krishna out of arrogance. One category is ignorant, another category is arrogant. So ignorant category of people, ignorant people amongst the materialistic circles, they are object of compassion, preaching. So a devotee can go to them and enlighten them in bhakti. But these people, if one does not have the bandwidth, one should avoid, stay away from them. Because their envy, their materialism could affect us. They are arrogant people. So in short, there is a lot to discuss in these two categories, but I'll keep it here. So two types of materialistic people are there. Some are innocent, some are ignorant, some are arrogant. So ignorant people must be enlightened, can be enlightened. Arrogant people, they're little tough. Okay. So therefore, Bhagavatam says this. Same, Nimi Navayogendra Samvad, that conversation says this. That a devotee connects with different people in different ways. Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. Prema is love for Krishna. Maitri is friendship with the devotees. Kripa is compassion with ignorant people, innocent people. Upeksha is staying away, right? Neglecting or just staying away, maintaining respectful, safe distance from them because they are arrogant people. So these are the four ways. So I'm just giving a prelude. So we'll go a little deeper. In this context, let's remember the prayer offered by Sudama, the florist. So Krishna has two devotees. Both of them, Krishna has two devotees with the name Sudama. One Sudama is his Gurukul friend, a Brahmana. Another Sudama is a Mathuravasi who is a florist. Okay. So when Krishna was touring Mathura city, he was seen by all the Mathuravasis. All the Mathuravasis left their activities in the middle and they came out to see Krishna. Some people were eating food, they left the food in the middle, they came running to see Krishna. Like that, all the Mathuravasis became very eager to see Krishna. Apparently, it seems that Krishna is touring Mathura city. Right? He is seeing Mathura city. But actually, Mathura city is seeing Krishna. So Krishna is getting excited touring Mathura city, but Mathura city is getting excited to see Krishna. Because they have been hearing about Krishna. In those days, there is no newspapers or TV channels or WhatsApp broadcasts. As soon as Krishna killed Aghasur, someone took a photograph and then circulated in WhatsApp communities. It did not happen in those days. So people were hearing. There is a wonderful little boy in Vrindavan who has killed so many demons miraculously. He's a human child, but he's performing so many superhuman activities. Kritavan kila karmani saharamena keshava. So they were hearing about Krishna, but they never saw Krishna. They were excited to see Krishna. All the Mathuravasis were excited to see Krishna. One person did not come out of his home. That is Sudama florist. Okay. Why he did not come out? He was so eager to render service to Krishna. He's a florist. What service he does? He would make nice fresh flower garlands and he would offer them to Krishna. Sudama was so busy making a garland for Krishna that he forgot to even come out of his home to meet Krishna. So Krishna asked the Mathuravasis, where does Sudama stay? I heard that Sudama's house is here. Krishna was searching for the address of Sudama. He did not have a GPS, Google Maps for him. He has to ask people address. So he was just moving, and then he came to Sudama florist. He is just very absorbed in making garland. He was sitting there. Then he saw some blue lotus sweet were there. He just lifted yellow dhoti he saw. Then he saw the beautiful form of Krishna and smiling face of Krishna. And he became so excited and he was stunned. He was speechless. He wanted to offer obeisances, but there was no space. Krishna was standing so close. He offered half dandavats, right? He offered half dandavats to Krishna and welcomed Krishna and offered garlands. So, Sudama did not offer garland only to Krishna. Krishna was accompanied by Balram and all the Gopa friends. Sudama offered garlands to all of them. Our love is not meant only for Krishna. It is meant for Krishna's devotees, Krishna's entourage, Krishna's associates also. Next point. Krishna became very pleased, not only with the service done by Sudama to himself, but also with the service done by Sudama to his devotees. Then Krishna said, Sudama, whatever you want, I'll give you. Ask a benediction. He asked this. Sopi vavrechalam bhaktim tasmin evakhilatmani tadbhakteshu cha sauhardam bhuteshu cha dayam param. He wanted three benedictions, just like some time back he was asking, right? Parikshit Maharaj, he said, Sopi vavre achalam bhaktim. First desire of Sudama is, I want unshakable devotion. Achala bhakti. Chala, chanchala means moving, flickering. Okay, I don't want that kind of flickering bhakti. I want steady bhakti. Achalam bhaktim. Second desire. Tad bhakteshu sauhardam. I want friendship with your devotees. Second desire. Fine. Third desire. Bhuteshu cha dayam param. Bhuteshu. Bhuta means not ghost. Okay. Bhuta is all living entities here. So bhuteshu cha dayam. Daya means compassion. I want to be compassionate towards all living beings. So devotees love Krishna. They make friendship with other devotees. But what about people who are not devotees? They are compassionate. They want to enlighten them. They want a relationship with them also. But what establishes that relationship between a devotee and a person who is not yet a devotee? Compassion. Right? It's not that a devotee thinks that I am compassionate upon them. A devotee thinks Krishna is compassionate upon them and I am an instrument of Krishna's compassion. Right? So we are transmitters of compassion, not originators of compassion. Originator of compassion is Krishna. Krishna is the origin of compassion. A devotee represents that compassion. Devotee transmits that compassion. Devotee receives it and transfers it. Right? So this is how a devotee wants to connect with others also. With people who are not practicing bhakti also. So now we discussed about relationships. By default, we are all related to each other with Krishna in the center. Whether we are devotees or not yet devotees, that we have seen. And if they are devotees, what should be our approach? If they are not devotees, what should be our approach? That also we have seen. Now, we will see how to spiritualize material relationships with the example of Kunti Maharani. We were discussing examples everywhere. Parikshit's example, Sudama's example. Now we will see the example of Kunti. Kunti Devi. Mother Kunti offers prayer to Krishna. Comes in the 8th chapter of the 1st canto of Bhagavatam. Krishna just orchestrated the entire Kurukshetra war and he was about to leave from Hastinapur. He has to go to Dwarka. Dwarka is his capital. So when Krishna was going to Hastinapur, suddenly Uttara came running. Krishna, Krishna Mahabaho, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin, Deva Deva Jagatpate, please protect me, please protect me. I don't see anyone else who can give me fearlessness. Na anyam toda bhayam pashyed yatra mrityu parasparam. She offered prayer to Krishna and to cut the long story short, Krishna entered within Mother Uttara's womb and protected Parikshit Maharaj and then he was about to leave. At this moment, Mother Kunti came and she said many things. But one thing that she said was, Krishna, are you leaving us now? You are leaving from Hastinapur? My sons, Pandavas, they became victorious in this battle of Kurukshetra. And my sons are in power now. Still there are so many inimical kings. They may harm them. They need your assistance. They need your help. They need your protection. Please stay here in Hastinapur. Continue to shower your merciful glances upon my children, my sons, Pandavas. Then suddenly Kunti Maharani got a thought. Oh, I am praying for the safety and protection of my sons. What about Vrishnis? They are my parental family, right? I came from Vrishni family and joined this Pandava family, married Pandu and joined this Pandava family. Now I am praying for my husband's family. And I wanted Krishna to stay with my husband's family. What about my parents' family? If Krishna stays here, who will protect them? Krishna should go there. That was her next thought. And her next thought was, why am I getting caught up in these partialities? Sometimes I'm thinking about the safety and protection of my sons. Sometimes I'm thinking about the safety and protection of my parental family. I'm getting too much into materialistic thoughts, right? I'm thinking too much about my family. Then she said, Atha Vishvesha Vishvatman Vishvamurte Svakeshu me Sneha Pashamimam Chindi Dradham Pandushu Vrishnishu. Oh Vishvesha, oh Vishvatman, oh Lord of the universe, oh super soul of the universe, please cut this strong knot of family affection that I have with Pandus and Vrishnis. She says, Sneha Pasham Imam Chindi. Cut this strong relationship that I have with Pandushu and Vrishnishu. Dradham means very strong relationship. Pandus, I have a relationship with Pandus, Pandavas and Vrishnis also. I am praying for both of them. I am caught up in these partialities, right? You should be with them, you should be with them. Cut this bondage. Cut this knot of affection. Cut this knot of family relationship. Okay? So why is she praying like that? And after cutting this family relationship, what exactly she wants to do? Next sloka. Tvayimenanya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit ratim udvahata dadham gangevogham udanvati Tvayi me ananya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit. Oh Madhupati, let my mati flow towards you. Let me always think of you. Let my thoughts, feelings, desires, emotions be always running towards you. Just like Ganga flows towards ocean despite so many obstacles. Right? Tvayi me ananya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit. Ratim udvahata dadha gangevaugham udanvati. So she wants to cut her relationship with Pandu's family and Vrishni's family, and she wants a relationship only with Krishna. So does it sound very extreme? Like in contrast with Parikshit's prayer and the prayer of Sudama. Parikshit said, I want loving relationships, friendly relationships with all living beings. Sudama made it little more explicit. He said, I want relationships with devotees and compassion for general people. And our Kunti says, I want relationship with you only, not even my family members. Vishnu Chakravarti clarifies this. It's not that she wants to cut relationships with Pandavas and Vrishnis. Okay, I was surprised. I was so surprised with this when I first read this book, right? I was surprised. But Kunti Maharani had two types of relationships with Pandavas and Vrishnis. One is the skin relationship. Second is the soul relationship. Right? So she is connected to Pandus and Vrishnis through the body. There is a bodily relationship. And she is also connected to them on a spiritual plane. What is that? They are devotees. She is also a devotee. There is a spiritual relationship between Kunti Maharani and Pandus and Vrishnis. But there is also a family relationship, bodily relationships. Okay, they are my sons, they are my parents, like that. So please cut that material aspect of our relationships. Let me not love them because I have a bodily relationship with them. Let me love them and serve them because they are your devotees. So we can spiritualize material relationships also. But if we commit offenses to devotees, if we criticize devotees, if we behave inimically with other devotees, then we are materializing spiritual relationships, right? So we can either spiritualize matter or materialize spirit. So let us not convert our spiritual relationships into material by inducing envy and pride and other undesirable qualities in our behavior with other devotees, but let us spiritualize our material relationships also. When we identify other living entities as connected with Krishna, naturally we are acknowledging our spiritual relationship with them. Okay, so in the third canto of Bhagavatam, Lord Kapila teaches his mother Devahuti. Very popular episode, very philosophical episode. One of the strong and deep philosophical episodes of Bhagavatam. So in this episode, Kapila says that somebody may worship me with excellent ingredients, brilliant worship, with all procedures and all mantras, chantantras, etc. But if that devotee has three things, I am not pleased with that worship. What are they? Number one, avagna. If a devotee who worships Krishna disregards other living beings, Krishna is not pleased with that worship. Avagna. Second is dvesha, envy. Third is avamana, insult or criticism. So, in short, if one hates other living beings, if one disregards or offends other living beings, he says other living beings, not even devotees. Devotees, it becomes much serious, more serious. Okay, if one is inimical or having hatred or grudge or envy toward negativity towards other living beings, whether they are devotees or not, one cannot please Krishna. Krishna says this kind of worship is pouring oblations into ashes. When you have some sticks in a yajna kund and you are chanting mantras and you lit fire and then pour ghee, that is called yajna. But yajna is over, there is big ash and you take 10 kilos of pure organic ghee and pour in it. Nobody will call it yajna, right? So pouring oblations into ashes, if one worships Krishna by disregarding and offending and criticizing other living beings. Of course, sometimes a constructive criticism will be made, which is an expression of compassion when great acharyas are criticizing materialistic people. Okay, but if one's criticism is accompanied with envy, hatred, grudge towards other living beings, that is displeasing to the Lord. So basically, Kunti Maharani wants to preserve her spiritual relationship with her family members. She wants to love them not because they are just family members. She wants to go a little beyond that also. She loves them, she wants to love them because they are all devotees of Krishna. So this is spiritualizing material relationships. Now, there are some keys to cordial relationships. How to make our relationships very cordial and nice. So relationships based on selflessness and service are expected from devotees, not exploitation and pampering of each other's egos. When I pamper someone's ego, naturally that person's ego is boosted and he sees me as a friend. There's a difference between genuine appreciation of other Vaishnavas' good qualities and trying to pamper them to get things done through them. There's a difference, right? When there's a genuine appreciation, they will voluntarily try to love us and serve us. But if there is just a formality kind of appreciation and we try to pamper the egos or something like that, then they may still be compatible, but that compatibility is not sustainable. Okay, the so-called compatibility that does not lead to sustainability in relationship is not desirable. So relationships must be based on selflessness and service, not exploitation and pampering each other's egos. Right? The upkeep of wholesome relationships require sensitivity. Right? Sensitivity, empathy, sympathy, love, forgiveness, ability to forgive, at least when the mistakes are very small, honest mistakes, right? And gratitude. Gratitude is a foundational quality to sustain relationships, and a willingness to support each other through difficulties, through happiness and distress. So these are a few pointers. And further, again coming back to Rupa Goswami's teachings, Rupa Goswami gives another formula in which there are 6 keys. Dadati pratigrihnati guhya makhyati prichhati bhunkte bhojayate chaiva shadvidham priti lakshanam. So giving gifts and accepting gifts. Dadati pratigranati. Guhyamakhyati pritchati. Sharing hearts and confidence. When they are trying to share something, let's listen with an empathetic ear. Let's spare some time. Right? At least when it is practical. And when we want to share something, we actually need some friend who can listen to us. Similarly, that need is there in others also. Let's try to empathetically hear. So, guhyamakhyati pritchati. Okay, sharing hearts and confidence, not necessarily prajalpa, but sharing hearts and confidence in a Krishna conscious way. Then, bhunkte bhojayate chaiva, feeding prasadam. Give prasadam, they are so pleased. Okay, just like you become pleased when you receive prasadam, others also become pleased when we give prasadam. So these are 6 loving exchanges. One more, very, very importantly. I'm concluding this first section. So last 45 minutes, I hope we are on time. So last, more than half an hour, 40 minutes we were discussing how to build relationships. But I'll come to the most important point of building relationships. Harer gunakshipta matihi Bhagavan badarayanihi Adhyagan mahadakhyanam Nityam Vishnu Janapriyaha. So this shloka comes in the first canto of Bhagavatam, right after the most popular shloka. Anyone knows here? Yes, there are scholars sitting here. Yes, Padmamukhini Prabhu. What's the shloka before this? Is correct. Continue from there. Anyone else? Atma Ramascha Munayo Nirgrantha Apyurukrami Kurvanti Ahaitukim Bhaktim Itham Bhuta Guno Harihi. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given 61 explanations to this one shloka. 61 meanings to one shloka. Right? It's a very important shloka in Bhagavatam. But the next shloka is also important. That's very close to my heart also. Okay. So this shloka is very, very important. Why? Let's discuss the previous shloka once. Atma Ramascha Manayo Nirgrantha Apirukrami Kurvanta Haitukim Bhaktim. Whether someone is an Atma Rama, self-satisfied person, says, Muni, thoughtful says, Nirgrantha, someone who has nothing to do with any grantha, illiterate person, right? Still, all these people can perform bhakti unto Krishna. Right? All these people can also perform bhakti unto Krishna because Itham Bhuta Guno Harihi, Lord Hari has such wonderful qualities that can attract the hearts of even Atmaramas, even Munis, even Nirgranthas. So, Sukadeva Goswami, as soon as he appeared on this planet, as soon as he took birth from his mother's womb, he was just going away, leaving his father. And Vyasadeva is running behind Sukadeva Goswami, saying that, my dear son, please stop, today is your birthday, I want to celebrate your birthday, please come back, you did not undergo any samskaras also, please come back. But Sukadeva Goswami is not stopping only. Then Vyasadeva got an idea, I should get my son back somehow or the other. He wrote Bhagavatam, right? He selected some important shlokas from Bhagavatam. He told some of his students, my dear students, come here, take these shlokas, run behind my son Sukadeva Goswami, go in front of him, recite these shlokas. And these disciples of Vyasadeva recited these shlokas. And Sukadeva Goswami heard these shlokas and he became so attracted to the personality whose glories and whose qualities are described in these shlokas. Okay. Then he became attracted and he came to these people and said, hey, you're chanting some shlokas. The meaning is so brilliant. Who is that personality who is being described in these shlokas? Are there more shlokas like this? Right? Who wrote these shlokas? I want to know. Then all the students said, your father is the author of the book Srimad Bhagavatam. And we are reciting these shlokas from Bhagavatam only. If you want, you can meet him. Okay? Welcome. Then Sukadeva Goswami came running to his father. He said, my dear father, Vyasadeva, I heard you have written a wonderful book about Krishna. His qualities are so brilliant. So can you please teach me? So then, Sukadeva Goswami sat in the class of Vyasadeva and heard entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Coming to this shloka. Harer gunakshipta matihi. Sukadeva Goswami is an Atmarama. Thank you. Sukadeva Goswami is an Atmarama. He's always self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything beyond his self-satisfaction. Okay. At this moment, he's not a... Take all this. Take all the sheets. Distribute to whoever did not receive. So, Sukadeva Goswami is an Atmarama. Atmarama means self-satisfied. In the beginning of our presentation, we said Krishna is Atmarama. Now we are saying devotee is an Atmarama. How is it possible? Krishna is Atmarama. He doesn't need anything beyond himself for his satisfaction. A devotee is also called Atmarama because a devotee is satisfied in satisfying the self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything beyond that for his satisfaction. So devotee is satisfied in service. Okay. Therefore he is also Atmarama. Okay. So Sukadeva Goswami is an Atmarama. He is a self-satisfied person. But he became attracted. Ittam bhuta guno harihi. He became attracted to Krishna's qualities as described in Srimad Bhagavatam. When you hear Srimad Bhagavatam, when you study Srimad Bhagavatam sincerely, our hearts will become attracted to Krishna's qualities. Harer gunakshipta matihi. When the mati, when the heart or the mind of Sukadeva Goswami is completely captivated by the qualities of Lord Hari, Harer guna akshipta matihi, Bhagavan Badarayanihi Adhyagan Mahadakhyanam. Mahadakhyanam refers to Bhagavatam. Adhyagan, he studied Bhagavatam. By study of Srimad Bhagavatam, his mind got completely captivated by Krishna's qualities. He developed love for Krishna. He heard few shlokas, his mind got captivated. By tasting little bit of Bhagavatam, just by seeing a trailer of 30 minutes, 30 seconds, he become attracted to watch the full movie of 3 hours. Right? Like that, Sukadeva Goswami saw the trailer of just few shlokas from Bhagavatam, his mind became attracted. Then he studied the whole literature, complete Bhagavatam. Then he became a lover of Krishna. He became attracted to the qualities of Krishna. Harer guna akshiptamati. His mind became completely captivated by Lord Hari's gunas. Right? Then what happened? Last line. That's why I kept it in a different color. Nityam Vishnu Jana Priyaha. He became very dear to Vishnu Janas. Who are Vishnu Janas? Devotees. Vaishnavas. Nityam Vishnu Jana Priyaha. Means all the devotees of Krishna became very dear to Sukadeva Goswami. Nityam Vishnu Jana Priyaha can also have another meaning. All the devotees of Krishna became dear to Sukadeva Goswami, and Sukadeva Goswami became dear to all the Vishnu devotees. So, this is one important key that I want to highlight today. Apart from so many keys that we discussed from beginning in the last 45 minutes, when we study Srimad Bhagavatam, when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam sincerely and develop some attraction towards Krishna's qualities, naturally we start respecting other devotees because they are connected to Krishna. Other devotees start loving us because we are loving Krishna. So that relationships that are based on mutual attraction towards Krishna are more sustainable, are spiritual. Devotees, relationships that are based on pampering each other's egos, relationships that are based on just, exploitation, they are not sustainable. Right? I have some work with this person, then only I will interact. No work, no interaction. Right? No love, no affection. If you are busy, that's a different thing. But the point is that an inclination to connect with all living beings on a spiritual plane is what is being exhibited by several acharyas and several shlokas of Bhagavatam are teaching us. Here Sukadeva Goswami is a very wonderful example because he became attracted to Krishna. He developed love for Krishna by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. He naturally loved every devotee and every devotee started loving him. The love between two devotees is based on how much they are attracted to Krishna. Right? The more we love Krishna, the more number of devotees we love. Okay? The less is our love for Krishna, the more is our criticism and hatred towards other devotees. Right? It depends on love for Krishna. Love for Krishna is a very big thing. Yes, here it means, here Srimad Bhagavatam, Adhyagan Mahadakhyanam. This Mahadakhyanam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Adhyagan, he studied. It's studied and heard by Sukadeva Goswami. That's how he became attracted to Krishna's qualities. and that is the basis of his loving relationships with other devotees, right? So, how to intensify that relationship with Krishna's qualities, right? How to absorb ourselves in that spiritual relationship with Krishna that sustains our relationships with other devotees. Spiritual discussions for sustainable relationships. Now, let's recite a couple of shlokas from Bhagavatam that emphasize how devotees interact with each other. Parasparanukathanam pavanam bhagavadyashah mithoratihi mitha tushtir nivrittir mitha atmanah. Paraspara anukathanam. If we regularly, mutually discuss the qualities of Krishna, discuss Krishna Katha, Pavanam Bhagavad Yashaha, because that is Bhagavad Yashaha. Bhagavad is Krishna, Yasha means glory of Krishna. So Pavanam means it completely purifies us. So glories of Krishna will purify our hearts. When the glories of Krishna are discussed by devotees of Krishna, the hearts of those devotees become enlivened. The hearts of the devotees will be purified by when they allow the spiritual sound vibration of Krishna's glorification to enter their ears. So what will happen by this? Three important outcomes of spiritual discussions with other devotees. One, mitho ratihi, our rati, our attraction for Krishna is improved. Mithaha tushtir, satisfaction of the heart is another important outcome. Mutually, mitha is mentioned. Then nivrittir mitha atmanaha. Nivritti means one's attraction towards material world and material desires is nullified. So when we discuss Krishna's pastimes, discuss Srimad Bhagavatam with other devotees, two things will happen. Three things we mentioned already. I'm speaking two more things. When one devotee glorifies Krishna and another devotee hears that glorification, then this other devotee, second devotee, will understand how much the first devotee loves Krishna. Okay? And the first devotee later hears from second devotee when he is glorifying Krishna. Thus, you appreciate each other based on how much you love Krishna. That will naturally improve your relationship. So when we are sitting together and discussing Gita and Bhagavatam, we are making our relationships more and more loving and sweet, and we are also cultivating relationship with Krishna together. So this devotee has so much appreciation for Krishna, so your appreciation for him will increase, right? So like that, your relationship with other devotees will increase, and your relationship with Krishna will also increase. Individually and collectively, we can improve our relationship with Krishna by spiritual discussions. So we are intensifying our relationship with Krishna and other devotees by bringing in the culture of discussing Harikatha when we meet each other. Yesterday also in Art of Study and Teach, that session, I was speaking on this only. Krishna Katha need not be restricted to public gatherings. Krishna Katha need not be spoken only in official forums where there are 100 devotees or 1000 devotees gathered and there is a sound system, there is mic, there is an amplifier, there is a camera, there is a PowerPoint, there are slides, there are handouts. Yes, this should continue. Krishna Katha need not be spoken in a Zoom call where 100 people are attending. Okay, Krishna Katha can be discussed with just two devotees. Two people sit together and discuss. That first thing should happen. Second thing also can happen. And it should happen. So the more we cultivate this culture of, inculcate this culture of bringing in Krishna Katha in our personal conversations, private conversations with each other, the more we love Krishna collectively, and also we develop relationships with other devotees. Our relationships with other devotees will become more enlivening, everlasting, spiritualized when we start sharing our appreciation for Krishna, our love for Krishna, right? So one more shloka. Krishna says, Machitta madgata prana
bodhayantaha parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha Madchitta Madgata Prana. Devotees are those people who constantly think about Krishna and they dedicate their lives to Krishna. Madgata Prana. Prana is life. Okay. Now you take a fish out of water and put it on the shore. Give it pizza. Give it burger. Give it AC. Give it car. Give it bungalow. Fish is not satisfied till the fish is put back into the water. Similarly, you take the devotee out of association of devotees. The devotee cannot survive. You take the devotee out of holy name, right? You take away holy name, feedback from him and Bhagavatam from him. Devotee cannot survive, right? Devotee's survival is dependent on feedback and Bhagavatam and Vaishnava Sangha. So, Madchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantaha Parasparam. They teach each other. They enlighten each other. On what? Krishna's glories. So, devotee glorifies Krishna, another devotee hears. The other devotee glorifies Krishna, this devotee hears. Thus, they appreciate each other. Okay, they love each other. Their relationship will be more sweet because it's based on their love for Krishna. Okay, so together we increase our love for Krishna. Together we increase our love for each other, relationship with each other when we discuss Bhagavatam. Right? Apart from many other things that we discuss, sympathy, empathy, all these are great. But this is one more important spiritual element. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is filled with such Krishna Katha in private conversations, right? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sit with Ramananda Rai for 10 days, only two of them. There are no 100 people audience, no sound system. Only two of them, 10 days they are discussing Harikatha. Ramananda Rai, when he goes to Jagannath Puri, then once Pradyumna Mishra comes to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and says, Lord Chaitanya, I want to hear Harikatha. Mahaprabhu says, I don't know Harikatha. Only Ramananda Rai knows Harikatha. Go to him. Then Pradyumna Mishra goes to Ramananda Rai and only two of them, they will discuss Harikatha. Discuss about Krishna. Then after that, Mahaprabhu says to Pradyumna Mishra, he says, you are the most fortunate person because you have developed an inclination to hear Harikatha. One who wants to hear Krishna's glories is the most fortunate person. Okay. So, when you discuss Harikatha with other devotees, we become fortunate and we also become more fortunate by cultivating loving relationships with other devotees. Rupa Goswami, Haridas Thakur. They would sit in Haridas Thakur's hut. They discuss Harikatha. Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur. Only two of them. They discuss the glories of Krishna. Sometimes third person, Lord Chaitanya would come and join them. 3 people. 2 or 3. Private conversations, Prajalpa is not happening. The discussion about latest iPhone models is not happening. The discussion about latest cars and some gossip about other people and some current affairs, that's not happening. One may discuss many things according to the need of the hour, definitely. Some services require certain discussions, we cannot avoid that. But if we also bring in the culture of glorifying Krishna in our private, personal conversations, that's an effective way of building relationships and also building relationship with Krishna. So friendly relationships amongst devotees actually please Krishna, right? So Krishna becomes very impressed. Now we'll discuss another example from the 4th canto of Bhagavatam. This is from the Prachetas. Varam vrinidham bhadram va यूयं मे नृपनन्दनः सौहार्देन पृथक् धर्म तुष्टोऽहं सौहृदेन वा तुष्ट aham. Who is speaking this to whom? Lord Vishnu is speaking this to these 10 princes, Prachetas. They are good friends. They are brothers. They have a blood relationship, family relationship. They also have a spiritual relationship. Their father, Prachinabar, he told them, my dear sons, you should go to the forest and do some austerities for your purification before you take up serious responsibilities as kings and householders. So they all went, obedience to father, they all went to the forest to worship Lord Vasudeva, perform some devotional austerities. Then, seeing their inclination to worship Lord Vasudeva, Lord Shiva came, because Shiva becomes very excited as soon as he sees someone excited to worship Lord Vasudeva. So Shiva came in front of them and said, you want to worship Vasudeva? I'll tell you how to do it. Because he's Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambho. He's the best of all Vaishnavas. How to worship Lord Vishnu, Shiva knows very well. So Shiva voluntarily came. He said, Yah param brahmasa sakshat triguna jiva samgitat bhagavantam vasudevam prapannaha sapriyo hime. He said that whoever wants to worship Vasudeva is very dear to my heart. Shiva says. So Shiva is not excited to give benediction to Vrakasur. He is excited, voluntarily excited to give all boons to our prachetas. Right? So once Vrakasur, you know Vrakasur's example, right? So he is looking for someone who can fulfill his desires very easily. So he went to Narada Muni. Tell me some person whom I should worship. Then Narada Muni said, you worship Lord Shiva. He is Asutosh. He is very easily pleased. Then Vrakasur started his fire, sacrificial fire. He took out some flesh from his own body and then putting in the fire. Okay, that is his austerity, that is his worship. He is meditating on Shiva. Shiva is not coming only. He knows what will happen if he comes. He is not coming, and Vrakasur got so frustrated, he wants to cut his head and put in the fire. Then Shiva came out of the fire. He said, stop this nonsense, what do you want? Okay, then he said, I want to put my hand on someone's head, he should die. Right, that's my desire. My God, this is what you want. For this you call me? Okay, no problem, take it, tathastu. Then Vrakasur said, I want to put my hand on your head. I want to put my hand on your head to test whether your boon works or not. Then he was running away. So Shiva and Vishnu came and protected him, you know that. So Shiva is not very excited with people who approach him with material desires, but Shiva wants to enlighten people who wants to worship Krishna. That is Shiva's relationship with other Vaishnavas. So he came in front of Prachetas, taught them a beautiful song called Rudra Gita, and these 10 princes learned that Rudra Gita from Shiva, went underwater and started chanting that Rudra Gita. Then after 10,000 years, Lord Vishnu came and said, Varam Vrinidham Bhadram Vo Yuyam Me Nripanandanaha. O sons of King Prachinabarhi, I am going to give you Varam, benediction. Okay, you ask whatever you want. Why? I am very pleased with you. Sauhardhena apruthak dharma. You all have performed devotional service with sauharda, with love, with friendly relationships. So Krishna is very, very pleased when devotees have loving relationships with each other. Again he says, Tushtoham sauhridena va. Sauhrida is coming in 4th line, sauhrida is coming in 3rd line also. Krishna is very pleased with the loving relationships of devotees. Tushtoham sauhridena va. When devotees connect with each other with love, then Krishna becomes very pleased. So cultivating friendly relationships is very important for all the reasons that we have been discussing in the last 1 year. 1 hour, not 1 year, 1 hour. And this is another reason. To please Krishna, we should deal with other devotees with love, with affection. Prabhupada says, the unity of individual souls attempting to satisfy the Lord, rendering service to the Lord is real unity. So when we come together and cooperate with each other with an inclination to love others and serve Krishna and discuss Harikatha, that will enliven the relationships. Okay? And the Lord is pleased to give all kinds of benedictions. So one last point about relationships. Commonness in uniqueness. If people are of different natures, how can there be relationship? Sometimes there is an incompatibility between two people, two devotees. Sometimes there is difference of opinion. Sometimes there is chemistry mismatch. So what can be a more variegated group of devotees than the Pandavas? Yudhishthira Maharaj, very sober, very calm, very cool. And he is a knower of dharma. Bhima, very aggressive, right? Very angry. And Arjuna, balanced, right? He is little like Yudhishthira Maharaj, little bit like Bhima also. He has power also. And as far as strength is concerned, Bhima has the strength of 10,000 elephants in one arm. So some devotee was very nicely explaining, you keep 10,000 elephants in one row, and Bhima would punch the first elephant, and the 10,000th elephant will fall down. Just imagine what must have happened to the first elephant. Right? Okay. So that is Bhima's strength. And Arjuna, he has his Gandiva bow, he has so many military certificates from great universal celebrities like Shiva and Indra. So this Nakula, Sahadev, they have their own powers, they have their own skill set. So they are all very varied, they are different in their natures, in their skill set, but they are all together. And they had some difference of opinions also, but they are all together with Krishna in the center. One thing that is common amongst all Pandavas is their love for Krishna, right? Their inclination to glorify Krishna, right? So that keeps them together. So with these few points about building relationships the Bhagavatam way, let's also try to discuss tackling distresses the Bhagavatam way. How much time do we have? Yeah, we still have half an hour. So tackling distresses the Bhagavatam way. So there's a similarity in the discussion that we had till now and what we are going to have now also. But I'll take you to Vrindavan now. Lord Krishna's associates in Vrindavan, the Vrajavasis, teach us by their example a wonderful distress mechanism to deal with distresses, right? So someone is giving you a distress formula, distress mechanism to deal with distress. Like the best of all the devotees whose pastimes are described in Bhagavatam are the Vrajavasis. So if you want to deal with the distresses, what else? Who else can teach us other than the Vrajavasis? Let's see what they have to teach us. So now I'll get into a little storyline. So Vrindavan is a place filled with happiness. Spiritual happiness. Completely dedicated to love Krishna. Now there is this shloka in the Venu Gita, the gopis of Vrindavan are saying, Vrindavanam sakhi bhuvo vitanoti kirtim yaddevaki sutapadam bhujalabdha lakshmi govinda venu manumatta mayura nrityam prekshadri sanvavaratanya samasta sattvam. Vrindavanam sakhi bhuvo vitanoti kirtim. All the gopis are discussing amongst themselves. Do you know the glory of Vrindavan? Vrindavan is actually increasing the glory of the entire earth planet. This earth planet is so fortunate because the land of Vrindavan is there on this earth. That's the real fortune. So what is the fortune of Vrindavan that is making earth planet fortunate? Yaddevaki sutapadam bhujalabdha lakshmi. Because Vrindavan has obtained the lotus footprints of Krishna. Krishna walked barefoot in Vrindavan. Because you're all exalted devotees and leaders, I'm not getting into giving basic details. Krishna walked barefoot in Vrindavan, directly imprinting his divine auspicious lotus footprints on the surface of this land of Vrindavan. So, Vrindavan is so fortunate. And even in Dwaraka, Mathura, Vaikuntha, many other places where the Supreme Lord manifested himself in multiple forms, he was walking with shoes. But in Vrindaranya, Lord Krishna walked barefoot. In Dandakaranya, Lord Ramachandra also walked barefoot. Actually, he was having some footwear, but Bharat came and took them. Okay. So coming back to Vrindavan. So Vrindavan is a place filled with happiness. However, there is a daily danger in Vrindavan. Daily there is some calamity in Vrindavan. So when Krishna is a little child, Putana came and attacked him. Right? Vrindavan is filled with distresses also, not only happiness. I spoke about the happy part of Vrindavan. And one more thing about the happiness of Vrindavan. Brahma Vimohana Leela episode says this. Yatra naisarga durvairaha sahasan ribrgadayaham mitrani vajita vasa datarashanadikam. Yatra naisarga durvairaha. By nature, some living entities have enmity. As soon as a tiger sees a deer or a human being, tiger thinks that my meal is ready, right? And the human being or deer has to run away. But in Vrindavan, tigers and deers or human beings, they stay together in transcendental friendship. Mitrani iva ajita vasa. Because Vrindavan is ajita vasa. Vasa is residence, ajita is unconquerable Lord. So Vrindavan is the home of Krishna. There is no scope for envy there. Coming back to our original discussion about relationships, Devotee Sangha means zero envy. Envy is zero. In Vrindavan, nobody is envious of anyone else. So we can create Vrindavan ambience, Vrindavan atmosphere wherever we are staying by giving up envy, by getting rid of our hearts from envy, right? So Vrindavan, there is no envy. So there is no distress. When there is envy, there is distress. Okay? So that's one reason for distress. Now coming to these episodes, Vrindavan is a place where there is a constant attack of demons, constant attack of calamities. Not only demons are creating trouble in Vrindavan, sometimes devatas are also are causing some troubles in Vrindavan. Indra creates a devastating rainfall in Vrindavan to destroy everyone. Okay? Aghasur comes and opens his mouth and he wants to swallow everybody. Then, especially in the first 3 years, 4 months of Krishna's manifest pastimes, where he spent time in Vrindavan, Balya Leela, not Vrindavan, Gokul Mahavan, there were several calamities. Some calamities that were mentioned in Bhagavatam were Putana's attack. She came in the form of a beautiful, motherly woman with a malicious intention to kill Krishna. Secondly, Utkacha. There is a demon named Utkacha. He came, he is a ghost, he is an associate of Kamsa. He is also called Shakatasur because he entered a Shakata. Shakata means cart. So this Utkacha, this ghostly demon, entered the cart and he wanted to fall on Krishna. But you know what happened? Krishna, with his butter-like soft divine foot, he just kicked that cart and the cart fell down. Okay? You know that. So there is an attack of Putana, there is an attack of Shakatasur, and Trinavarta, when Krishna was just a 1-year-old baby. Trinavarta came, the whirlwind demon. He came and picked up Krishna and went 800,000 miles high into the sky, into the outer space, to kill him, to eat him. But somehow, Krishna, as if an infant baby who is afraid of height, altitude from the ground level, he became fearful and he caught hold of Trinavarta's neck. Right? You see some small children, when you lift them, they become little fearful and they catch with their little fingers, with their little grip, they catch your hand very tightly. That's how Krishna caught his neck tightly. And he was hanging from Trinavarta's neck like a blue locket. Right? Blue locket on his chest. So he was just hanging like that. But with that little grip of Krishna, Trinavarta's the throat got choked up and he collapsed from there. And where did he land? Trinavarta airplane took off from Vrindavan, Gokul Mahavan. So what is the possibility of an airplane that went 800,000 miles into the sky, crashes from there, and then he will fall, the airplane will fall exactly at the same point where he took off? Right? So, but it happened in Trinavarta airplanes. Okay? So Trinavarta just fell in Gokul Mahavan. Where exactly? Right next to Mother Yashoda, Rohini Mata, and many other motherly gopis of Vrindavan. They were lamenting, right? He fell right next to them. Not on a house, not on a gopa or gopi or a cow or a calf or a peacock or a buffalo or monkey. He fell on a big boulder. Okay? All his limbs got dislocated. This is all Krishna's divine arrangement. So Krishna is protected. So I am not here to elaborate on Trinavarta Leela or Shakatasur Leela. Point is, so many calamities came in Vrindavan. So one more calamity is Mother Yashoda, Damodar Leela, the most favorite Leela of so many devotees. So when Mother Yashoda tied Krishna to this wooden grinding mortar, Krishna just dragged it between these two Yamalarjuna trees and the trees fell down. And devotees were thinking, what would have happened to Krishna if the cart fell on Krishna? Shakatasura episode. What would have happened to Krishna if these two trees fell on Krishna? Damodar Leela episode. So there was a big meeting. So all the heads of Vrindavan, like Nanda Maharaj, Upananda, all these great personalities, elderly Gopas, they had a big meeting. They were thinking that Krishna and Balram were being attacked by so many demons. We must protect Krishna somehow or the other. Looks like this Gokul Mahavan is infested with so many demons, ghosts, and evil forces. We must run away from here. So let us go to Vrindavan. From Gokul Mahavan, let us all shift to Vrindavan. So point is, calamities are inevitable in this world. Calamities, difficulties, distresses are inevitable in this world, even if it is Vrindavan. Okay? So, but we can make an attempt to evade danger. So just because calamity is inevitable, miseries are very common, that does not mean we don't do anything to counteract miseries. We have to take our measures by God-given means to counteract the miseries. That's what all these Gopas did. They thought, let us shift to Vrindavan. So they kept Krishna and Balram along with their mothers, Yashoda and Rohini, on a cart, and so many cows and carts, bullock carts, they were just going. Old people, children, then Gopas, they all shifted from Gokul Mahavan to Vrindavan. They are not village dwellers. They are not city dwellers. They are not town dwellers. They are mountain dwellers. All the Vrajavasis are mountain dwellers and forest dwellers. They stay in forest, Vrindavana, right? So they can shift from anywhere, from one place to another place. So they wanted to avoid danger. They shifted from Gokul Mahavan to Vrindavan. So did that have any impact? The reason for their shifting from Mahavan to Vrindavan is there are so many demons that are attacking. Okay, so let's see what happened after they shifted. When they shifted, Krishna is just about 3 years old, little more than 3 years old. They gave Krishna the charge of little calves. Take these calves, go to the nearby forest and then tend them, and evening you come back. Take this lunch bag. That's the training that is given in this cowhead community of Vrindavan. So Krishna was given that charge. So Krishna went along with all the Gopas and Balram with the little calves. Then a demon named Vatsasur came in the form of a calf and tried to kill Krishna. To cut the long story short, what did Krishna do? Krishna caught the legs of this calf and twirled him around and threw him on the top of a kapita tree. So then all the kapita fruits fell down and they ate. So not only this, immediately there is another attack of Bakasur. Bakasur came, a crane demon came and swallowed Krishna. And Krishna just entered the mouth of Bakasur. Bakasur thought, I have killed Krishna. And all the Gopas also thought that Krishna is killed. And they fainted. Even Balramji fainted, seeing that Bakasur had swallowed. Then all the devatas came. Brahma came with his Brahmadanda on his swan carrier. Shiva came with his Trishula on the bull carrier. And Mother Kali came. Indra came with his thunderbolt. So many devatas came and tried to fight with this Bakasur to avoid the calamity. But Bakasur was unaffected. Then after a while, Krishna became very hot. Krishna is cool like butter also, soft like butter also. He can be hot like iron rod also. You know how he killed Keshi demon, right? So he kept his hot iron rod like hand in the mouth of Keshi, and he killed. So like that, Krishna has killed Bakasur also. Basically, he increased his heat inside, and Bakasur just opened his mouth and Krishna came. He just came out, and he bifurcated the beak of Bakasur and killed him. So the point is, although these Vrajavasis shifted from Mahavan to Vrindavan just to avoid demons' attack, as soon as they shifted, 2 demons attacked Krishna. Although we try to destroy distresses in this world, they will come. So distresses are inevitable. We cannot counteract miseries, right? We can take so many measures, just the flavor of misery may change. The style, the way it attacks, the time duration for which it stays, they may vary, but distresses are unavoidable. But we can be peaceful amidst this chaos. How? Now, I'm coming to the solution part. Okay, tackling distresses, the Bhagavatam way, okay, is this. Iti nandada yogopaha Krishna Rama katham mudam kurvanto ramamanascha navindam bhavavedanam iti nandadayo gopaha Krishna Rama katham muda. I just mentioned that when Krishna took charge of calves, 2 demons attacked him. One is Vatsasur, second is Bakasur. All the little Gopa friends of Krishna, they would see Krishna kill these demons, and in the evening, with great excitement, with great pleasure, with great happiness, with their childish innocence, they come and narrate all these demon killing pastimes of Krishna to their elders. They would go to their father. Every Gopa would go to their father and mother, and he would say that, my dear mother, my dear father, what Krishna killed? One demon came in the form of a calf. We thought that it's also our calf only. But Krishna recognized that this is not a calf. This is a demon. And Krishna twirled him around, threw him on Kapita tree. And all the Kapita fruits fell, and we ate the fruits. With great excitement, they would narrate these pastimes. And the elders, with great astonishment, would hear these pastimes. There is Vismaya. Okay. There is Vipatti, there is Vismaya. And there is Viraha also, that we'll see later. But Vipattis are very common in Vrindavan. And the way Krishna comes out of these Vipattis causes Vismaya, astonishment. Vipatti is distress, and Vismaya is astonishment. So all the elderly cowhead boys, cowhead men, who hear Krishna's demon killing pastimes from their sons, they become very excited. And they constantly discuss about Krishna and Balaram amongst themselves. They heard from their own sons, right? Bhagavatam class is given by children to the elders there, right? And after the Bhagavatam class is completed, the elders will start another Bhagavatam class, Machitta, Madgata, Prana, Bodhayantaha, Parasparam, amongst themselves, right? They will do Parasparana Kathanam. My son said Krishna did this in Vrindavan, in the forest. And another Gopa, elder Gopa would say, my son also said the same thing. And this is the talk of Vrindavan, right? The Gopis will discuss about Krishna's demon killing pastimes. The elder Gopas will discuss about demon killing pastimes. And the little Gopas also would do that. So that's what the shloka says. Iti nanda dayo gopa Krishna Rama katham muda. In this way, the Gopas of Vrindavan and Gopis of Vrindavan, they are discussing the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with great happiness. Kurvanto ramamanascha. This is something similar to Machitta, Madgata, Prana, Bodhayantaha, Parasparam, Kathayantasya Mam Nityam, Tushyanticha, Ramanticha, Ramamanascha. So they are very happily discussing. And this last line, which I highlighted in a different color. Navindan bhava vedanam. Bhava means material existence. Vedana means distress. Navindam, they did not experience. Calamity, distress existed in Vrindavan, but that distress did not affect the Vrajavasis because they are constantly discussing Krishna Katha. To the degree we absorb our minds in the glorification of Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam, to that degree we remain unaffected by calamities. Calamities continue to exist, but they don't affect a devotee like they affect a conditioned soul, like common people. Because a devotee feels a sense of hope, sense of confidence, great dependence on Krishna by regularly discussing Harikatha. Okay. Now, Prabhupada writes, this is coming in the 11th chapter of the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. 11th chapter. Prabhupada translated Bhagavatam till which chapter? 13th chapter. So 13th chapter means just a couple of chapters before that. One chapter is there in the between. So Prabhupada during his last days is making this statement. Let's see. This is a practical example. If we follow the footsteps of Nanda Maharaj and the Gopas, we can all be happy simply by discussing the activities of Krishna. There is more also in the purport, you can go back and read. So we can remain unaffected by miseries. We have to deal with the miseries, of course. We have to deal with dangers. We have to deal with difficulties and distresses. But we can remain unaffected by them to the degree we become affected by Krishna. To the degree our minds and hearts become completely affected and absorbed in Krishna's glories. So building relationships, same point. Discuss Harikatha with other devotees. Tackling distresses, same point. Discuss Harikatha with devotees. So when we absorb our minds in discussing Krishna's pastimes, as they are discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam, to that degree we can build good relationships and also tackle distresses very effectively, right? We may do the needful, okay, apparently, whatever is needed, we will do the needful, but at heart, we will not become so depressed, discouraged, demotivated, disappointed, or we don't become dysfunctional when there is a distress, right? Because there is a great sense of confidence when we discuss about Krishna by studying Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, in the beginning it says, etadhiyatura chittanam matra sparshechaya muhu bhavasindhuplavo drashto haricharyānuvarnanam etadhi atura chittanam. Atura chitta means a mind filled with deep anxiety. Okay. Why the minds of people are filled with anxiety? Matra, sparsha, ichhaya, muhu. The conditioned soul is constantly trying to bring his senses in contact with sense objects, aspiring for sense pleasure. But they are not getting pleasure. They are getting distress. So attempts to gratify one's senses will bring distress. Already there is distress. We try to aggravate that distress by making attempts, ati prayasa, to get material happiness. But that endeavor for sense happiness will plunge us into deep distress. And it is like Bhava Sindhu. It is like ocean of material existence. But to come out of that ocean of material existence, we need a boat. We can't swim. However expert we may be at swimming, we are in the middle of the ocean. Shore is nowhere seen. How long we will swim? 1 hour, 2 hours, 10 hours, 10 days? We can't swim. And any shark may come and catch us. Okay, any whale may come and catch us. Any crocodile may come and catch us. Right? Therefore, an expert swimmer also will not be able to come on the shore of an ocean if he's in the middle of the ocean. So that our situation is like that in this material world. But we can come out of it by Haricharya Anuvarnanam, by constantly discussing Lord Hari's pastimes in our discussions with other devotees. So, calamities, distresses are inevitable but not unavoidable. Right? They are present in this world, but we can avoid them. So, like a river is there, on a flowing river, ripples are constant, right? Can anyone stop ripples on a river? Similarly, no one can stop miseries in this material world. Can anyone stop rain in monsoon? No one can stop. But you can take an umbrella, right? Right? You can take an umbrella of Bhagavatam, umbrella of Harikatha in Vaishnava Sangha. That will safeguard us from the rain of material miseries. Therefore, this shloka comes. Srimad Bhagavatam Purana Mamalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. One more shloka. Dharma Projita Kaita Votra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Shivadam Tapatraya Unmoolanam. Tapatraya Unmoolanam. You know what are the tapatrayas, threefold miseries? Bhagavatam's one characteristic is to uproot the threefold miseries. Bhagavatam has the formula of tackling distresses. Bhagavatam can destroy miseries. How can a book destroy my miseries? Okay. So, Adhyatmika, Adhibhautika, Adhidevika. Can a book destroy my fever? My COVID virus? When mosquito is biting me, this book will protect me. When it's raining too much, when sunlight is too much, will Bhagavatam protect me from sweating? Right? So Bhagavatam will not exactly stop the threefold material miseries, but Bhagavatam will equip our consciousness with the necessary maturity to see misery as mercy. It is not tapa now, it is kripa. Right? So when we take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees, we can see tapa as kripa. We can see misery as mercy. How? I must have done some misdeeds in the past. And Krishna is purifying me by giving me this reaction. And in fact, Krishna is very merciful to minimize my suffering by reducing the punishment. And thus, he is purifying me. He is very merciful. Let me continue my bhakti. That's what Bhagavatam teaches us in the other shloka. Where is that? Tattenu kampam susamikshamano Bhunjana eva atmakritam vipakam. Hridvag visargo hridvagva purbhir vidadhan namaste. Jivetayo muktipade sadaya bhak. Lord Brahma says, miseries in this material world are inevitable, but a mature devotee is one who continues to experience the material miseries as a result of one's own past misdeeds and continues to take shelter of Krishna, especially by hearing from other devotees, by absorbing oneself in spiritual discussions with other devotees. We can equip our intelligence with scriptural wisdom, nourish our hearts with the sweetness of Krishna's pastimes, and focus our minds on Krishna's holy names, and engage our senses in Krishna's services, and thus remain unaffected by the temptations and tribulations in this world. This material world is filled with so many temptations. When we give in to those temptations, we invite tribulations, right? But if we give in to the discussions of Bhagavatam with other devotees, then we can tolerate the temptations and avoid tribulations. Okay, so this is the Bhagavatam way of dealing with distresses. So I'll conclude with this one last example, a spiritual sky ride. I have only 2 minutes. Okay, when you're traveling in an airplane, from that altitude, you can see all the pathways, all the roads, all the buses and trains and autos and human beings and electric poles and rivers and lakes, very tiny, very small, right, like matchboxes, when you're traveling there. Similarly, when you're traveling in the airplane, spiritual airplane of spiritual intelligence, okay, then from that altitude of spiritual consciousness, all the material problems will look tiny. We have to deal with them. But when we are standing on the ground only, but we'll try to elevate our mind, our hearts on a higher spiritual plane. Simple living, high thinking, right? When we elevate our hearts to meditate on higher spiritual truths, from that altitude, naturally, the material problems will become very tiny. Somebody asked Prabhupada, there are so many problems. Prabhupada said, problems? There are problems. I only see service to my spiritual master. Right? In one's attempts to perform service to spiritual master, there could be so many problems, but a devotee accepts them with grace and continues to serve. Right? This is called spiritual skyride. So when the intelligence, when the mind, when the consciousness becomes spiritual by studying Srimad Bhagavatam, by discussing Srimad Bhagavatam with other devotees, we will be able to see these small problems very tiny, very insignificant. When someone is walking on a road, there's a traffic signal, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it's not going green, they're standing there. But if you're traveling in a flight, no traffic light can stop you, right? Similarly, when we are in material consciousness, every single red light will block our movement. 6:15 charge is also over. There's an indication to conclude. So other things are there in the chart. But in conclusion, basically whether to build relationships with other devotees or to tackle distresses that are inevitable in our life, we have to do one thing. There may be other solutions, right? We can learn many things. But in this one little seminar, I just want to highlight this one solution. If we discuss, study Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of our other devotees, then we will be able to build nice cordial relationships with them.